Hello, for those of you that may not know us, my name is Tim Trivett and this is my wife Tabitha. The reason for us posting this video is to tell you about a ministry that God has led us to begin in order to help those struggling in an area that held me personally captive and in prison for many, many years.
The story of how God brought Tim and I together is nothing more than a story of how God took two lives that were labeled as failures, brought us up from our bottom, and through His mercy, love, and grace, completely changed our future to a life together full of the favor of God.
You see, for 10 plus years, I served in the music ministry of the church, sat on a pew Sunday after Sunday, and portrayed the life of the good little preacher's kid that many of you thought was the person of Tim Trivett. What many of you did not know and did not see was the heavy chains of sin and addiction that controlled my every minute, my every hour, and my every day, pretty much all of my adult life, including every time I sat behind a drum kit at church.
I too lived a life away from God and that much better plan that He had for my life and the life of my babies. But as God began to work in Tim's life, He was also implementing the same type of change in my heart that would lead me to serving with Tim as a couple and showcasing His fame as trophies of grace that only God could get the glory for creating.
See, I know and understand firsthand how addiction has become an epidemic in this country, from the head honchos in the boardroom to the helpless and the homeless living under the bridge. See, God has placed a burden in our hearts for these folks across the globe that are wrapped up in addiction. And when you pull the cover off of addiction, it's nothing more than sin. And sin is an everybody, everyday epidemic.
We have found through what God brought Tim and I out of that addiction, no matter the form, affects everybody. If an addiction does not necessarily control your life, you either have someone close to you or know someone that is controlled by the need to find the fix that one feels will feed the hunger for the substance. That has them locked up in an internal prison.
See, God used Tabitha in a mighty way as my accountability partner through the personal recovery process. She was there day after day alongside of me during the good days and the bad. Together we went through the only rehab that has a 100% success rate. The rehab that is a one-on-one encounter with God Almighty. You see, this rehab is the only thing that would take care and clean up the complete total mess that I'd made of my life. And it's the rehab of a relationship with the one that makes the change, and that's Jesus Christ. Tabitha will share how God helped her be the support system that I so desperately needed.
On Monday, August 26, 2013, Tim and I will begin to share the details of how and what God delivered Tim from and how He completely changed both of our lives forever. And yes, the tool God has laid on our heart to communicate His wonder-working power is one that only my husband and his limitless imagination and constant need to destroy our apartment would attempt, much less bring to reality. On that Monday, we will publish and air the first episode of the Failure to Favor podcast, hosted by my husband, Tim Trivett.
That's me.
And as many of you have heard Tim say more than once, I can vouch for the fact that Tim has a closet full of t-shirts to show that his life indeed was a life of failure, that today enjoy an outpouring of God's favor.
That's right. We're so excited to see how God uses the Failure to Favor podcast to help those that feel that there is no hope for a future, a family, or even a full recovery. Tabitha and I have one goal through FTF, and that is to simply brag on Jesus for all He's done for us and what He wants to do for you. We just want to tell you how we found the hope that we thought was lost forever. The most amazing news of all is we're going to tell you where to find it.
The Failure to Favor podcast is a weekly internet-based talk show that will be posted on Facebook, Twitter, as well as this very own website. There will be audio and video feeds for FTF. And trust me, the entertainment level that the video feed brings will be enough for itself to keep you coming back. Imagine watching Tim Trivett host a talk show. Enough said.
You got that right.
Tim and I welcome guests each week that will help us brag on the only one that can bring about the change this world is looking for. From mentors, sponsors, doctors, and pastors, including a very, very special show that Tim will share with his dad, my father-in-law, Ken Trivett.
Please help us pray that God will take the distribution of FTF to a level that can only be explained by His power. Also, help us get the word out by sharing this video on your timeline, at your church, or any other way you can dream up. God has already sent several pastors and congregations to join with us and commit to helping us let folks know about the FTF show. You never know who needs to hear about the fix that we found through the relationship with Jesus Christ.
You can tune in to the Failure to Favor podcast by going to www.failuretofavor.podomatic.com. That's www.failuretofavor.podomatic.com. Be sure to click the follow button on the Podomatic site, as well as post your comments, show ideas, and guests you would like to see on the Failure to Favor podcast. You can also find the show by going to Failure to Favor website direct at www.failuretofavor.com.
You can also find the FTF podcast in the iTunes Store, Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel. You can also email Tabitha and I at timandtabs@failuretofavor.com. Again, that email address is timandtabs@failuretofavor.com. Be looking for the first episode of Failure to Favor podcast this coming Monday, August the 26th. Romans 5:20 pretty much says it all. Listen and follow the FTF podcast and hear our story of how sin did so absolutely abound and how we saw firsthand that grace did much more abound.
Came down to the bottom and became the fix for me. He took away the chains that bound me. Grace brought down my prison's key. I went from failure to His favor when He said